Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Let's bring you up to speed with the big happenings in politics and in the polity. Prominent investment banker Tedo Petersai describes term of immediate past chairman of INEC, Nnamdi Kanu, as a national disaster. After being rearrested successively, former presidential candidate of the AAC and rights activist Comrade Sowore and Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, Nnamdi Kanu, have now been released from Kuje prison. Thanks again for joining us on the program that gives you all access pass, so everything that has to do with politics at midday, as well as looking at the polity in general. Let's start off with some very strong words by renowned investment banker and economist Tedo Petersai describing the former and independent chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Nnamdi Kanu, describing his tenure as a national disgrace. Mr. Petersai, who was our guest on our political program Politics Today, said INEC under Professor Kanu did not see so much progress.
INEC that was led by Nnamdi Kanu was a national disgrace.
Is that fair to say?
You just have to go on the IREV. If you have time, I'll take you there myself and show you result sheets that they bring out. Mutilated, change. Sometimes they change figures, they forget to change words, they add up. You see, I heard ex-governor Dixon saying in the Senate, he's now a senator, saying that we have to amend the Electoral Act in some important ways. See, and this way our judiciary has not lived up to the required standards. I agree with Senator ex-Governor Dixon that for INEC, the burden of proof should shift to INEC. You can't allow a situation where INEC can do anything, bring out rubbish results, mutilated and everything, and then argue that it's for the victim to prove that what they've done is wrong. When a blind man can see that what they've done is wrong. You know, and also, the other thing I'll mention is that we have to be very careful in one area. You see, until recently, people felt even if INEC messed this up, the judiciary was your last resort. I think after Edo State elections, I don't think anybody has any faith left in our judiciary. These next elections we have, the next general elections, I don't think anybody realistically is going to go for elections, get a result he does not like, and then start going to the judiciary. Because I think the general acceptance now, general feeling now is that a judiciary is a waste of time.
All right, so those are the words. That's why I say very strong words. If you know Tedo Petersai, it doesn't matter whose ox is God, he will speak his mind and speak his truth. Let's talk about what played out just a few hours ago yesterday, where Aloy Ejimakor is a special counsel to the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, that proscribed group, Nnamdi Kanu, and human rights activist and leader of the Free Nnamdi Kanu protest, Sowore, now released from Kuje prison after meeting his bail condition. An associate of the rights activist who disclosed this correspondent in Abuja says Aloy Ejimakor, a former counsel to the detained leader of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, and Prince Emmanuel Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu's younger brother, along with several others who were detained for participating in the Free Nnamdi Kanu, also regained their freedom. Sowore, who led the 20th October demonstration in violation of a court order obtained by the police, was arrested by operatives of the Nigerian police force while attending Kanu's trial at the Federal High Court in Abuja. The defendants were arraigned before a magistrate court in Kuje area, which granted them bail on Friday, the 24th of October, over allegations that they violated a court order on where and where not to protest. Well, while that was playing out, the Commissioner of Police in Lagos, Olorundare Jimo, has warned activists Sowore and others against mobilizing protests over recent demolitions in the Oworonshoki area of the state. The Lagos State Police boss explains that the command is prepared to combat the challenges and will curtail criminal elements waiting to disrupt activities across the metropolis.
Every Nigerian is entitled to protection, is entitled to safety, is entitled to freedom of movement, is entitled to freedom of expression. Freedom of expression is clearly one of the essentials of democracy, which they are enjoying. But criminalities will not be condoned. Anybody that wants to hide under violent protests to truncate the peace in Lagos or to disturb the activities of other Nigerians will not be allowed. If you have any grievances against government at whatsoever level, whether at local or state or federal, there are laid down processes to do so. And you can equally approach the courts and let all the judicial process be exhausted in the process of fighting for your right. But your right stops where another person begins. So you don't say because you are demolished, because we know very well that all the area demolished that are illegal, that is area where criminals are urbaning in Lagos and causing mayhem on the innocent Nigerians. So Sowore should not hide under criminalities if he's not a criminal himself, to begin to sponsor people that we have raided so many areas in Oworonshoki, and we have recovered a lot of incriminating evidence, including leather weapons from those locations. So the government is right in its justification of ensuring that those areas are removed. If the people who are resident there are not that well-meaning Nigerians, as complained, they should approach the government at whatsoever level and lay their complaint. So anybody who want to hide under criminality like Sowore and his group should know that they are complicit in conspiracy to commit mayhem in those locations that they want to come out, and which will not allow this to happen. So they should stay clear and respect the law.
Well, Mr. Jide Ologun is a legal practitioner. He joins me right here in our Lagos studio. Mr. Ologun, thank you so much for coming on the program.
You're welcome.
I was smiling because some of the utterances of CP Jimo is almost what put him in trouble when he was, if I remember, almost caused a lot of trouble for him. I think when he was, I think, first spokesman at some point. But what do you make of some of the things he said? I'm not sure Sowore is going to be comfortable with those statements because I was just smiling. I said, okay, this is getting really funny. He said things like, there are two layers I want to ask you. I want you to respond to. But let's start with the first layer. He said criminal elements may hijack if Sowore himself is not a criminal and all of that. Well, Sowore will answer him on that. What do you make of his assertion?
Absolutely. When he made reference to criminal elements, I'm sure he was referring to those who may hijack the protest, because naturally a protest is expected to be peaceful. But somewhere along the line, it's either those who are trying to counter the protest, introduce some violence into it, and it is generally now classified as criminals hijacking the protest for the government to cut it short. And for trying to insinuate that Sowore may be a criminal, that if he is not one, he should not be found with criminals. I think we need to wait to have a conclusion that the personalities involved, if anyone is arrested, by the way, are actually criminal. Because if you look at
Section 36...
Section 36...
Is that even a nice thing to say about Sowore?
And that is what I'm saying now, but like you said, it's for Sowore to respond. And that is what I'm explaining now. If you look at Section 36, subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, even when you have criminal allegations against anybody, the defendant is presumed innocent until the allegations are proved beyond all reasonable doubts before a competent court. Like in the case of Kanu, right now, Kanu is still presumed innocent, despite all the allegations against him, until that matter is brought to a conclusion. So it may not be tidy in terms of official communication to label some as criminals, but perhaps in this sphere of the world,
maybe it's a sphere was consumed by anger and emotion. And he spoke out of order.
He could have made
Anyway,
reference directly to the activities, you know,
Yeah.
criminal activities, to prevent criminal activities. Because if you look at Section 14, subsection 2 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it says clearly that the security and the welfare of the citizens shall be the primary purpose of government. So under that purview, you are expected to, you know, maintain peace.
Well, I won't put the burden on you. I will invite Mr. Jimo himself. He's media friendly. If we call him, he will come.
Yes.
He will answer for himself why he used those words directly. I don't know what was going on, but let's because they are linked. The protest that led Sowore to prison, or to prison, the custody of the police, was Nnamdi Kanu's case, which we're going to come to in just if you give me some few moments. Let's talk about this issue. There's something disturbing and very concerning. And it's not unique to this administration. I think it happened literally every successive administration, but it feels like it's getting worse by the day. The government comes to claim that, oh, people are free to do whatever it is, but as soon as people want to convert for any reason, there's always an intelligence that comes out of possible disruption. Not allowing people to ventilate their thoughts. Are we playing with fire here, or the government has information that we do not have? Is that a fair assessment of the situation? Because why I'm asking this is to the effect that you don't need anybody's permission to protest. The best is maybe notification, maybe because of the uniqueness of the situation. But sometimes it feels like, it looks like you need some kind of permission. And when we've seen pro-government people protesting, there's no issue. There's no security intelligence. As soon as anti-government are protesting, there's intelligence and all sorts. What do you make of it?
You know, it's peculiar to us here, and it's the apprehension that gets attached to it, particularly from the side of the government, that feel often threatened. Because, like you said, protest is a fundamental human right. What is protest? I'm not satisfied with this. Please, I'm drawing attention to it. But again, going to precedents, sometimes when such protests are going on, some take advantage to loot, to destroy public property and things like that. So on the side of government, it is needful that you protect such extended expression of the protest. For instance, I doubt if Lagos has fully recovered from the NSAS protests when some buses were burnt, you know, bus stops and terminals and things like that.
People were killed.
Exactly,
and people
yes, so there were casualties on both sides.
Right.
So on the scale of that, it's good for the government to try and manage the situation. But you are also right. You cannot prevent people from ventilating. In fact, making reference to the last protest led by Sowore, the Inspector General of Police went to court by delegation to get an injunction against an order against Sowore from protesting. But the judge said no. You cannot get this by ex parte approach. Put the other party on notice. And interestingly, the adjourned date came after the protest. And when the protest started, the argument was that they were going to restricted areas. So there are several tactics involved. And the general perception is that you have prevented people from protesting because tear gas canisters were, you know, shot and things like that. So there is still this perceived adversarial relationship between government agencies and the citizens, because the ideal situation is that the police should monitor the protest and ensure it is well carried out while preventing destruction and introduction of criminal activities. But and that is why the police will say, oh, we are your friend. But the citizens have not perceived it in that light. And I think that is an aspect we still need to manage. And in public relations, you talk about perception. The perception of the citizens is that the police is not even on the side of the people, but on the side of the government, you see. And there is a need to listen. You know, Ambassador Keshi was responding to the issue in Madagascar, that you need to listen to the silence and the voices of the people. Because if you go to Madagascar, there were genuine concerns from the citizens, but because of the approach of the government, it went haywire. So there is still that need to lay a solid foundation for collaborative relationship, because we are all talking about national development, and there are issues of concern that we give back to equity, to justice in the country. We must all be interested in them. So like you said, the perception is that no, the government does not just want people to protest. Look at the protests against hardship in the land and things like that also. And I doubt if we are going to move away from this operational mindset soon, because if you also study the foundation of the police system in Nigeria, it was designed to protect the interest of those who brought that system and their business. And despite the fact that we have been freed from,
we're independent
for about 65 years, we have not done anything to work on that foundation.
Okay. Let's talk about, without trying to speak to any of the case or the merit of the case, which is still in court, Nnamdi Kanu's case. But just peripherally, let's look at what has been happening in the past few days. First, we woke up to find out that whether he sacked them or whatever happened, it says there's no longer legal representation. And he says he's going to defend himself, pro se. As a pro se litigant in this case. Well, he said he should be given time to study the case file. He got his case file, and then the day he was supposed to open defense, he said, look, I've read the case file, there's no valid charge against me, so dismiss it. What does the law say about this situation? I even know that the judge advised him to seek legal expertise and counsel before he puts down anything in the written address.
Thank you very much. In the criminal justice ecosystem, there are three strong factors. You talk about thorough investigation, you talk about diligent prosecution before a committed judiciary. And how are these playing out now? Let me start from the aspect that has been of concern to quite a number of stakeholders. That, the Court of Appeal came to a conclusion that release him, drop the charges against him. And the federal government proceeded to the Supreme Court. And since 1963, when we became a republic, Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. Before then, you could further appeal to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council of the UK. And Supreme Court looked at the appeal and said, fine, even though the federal government recklessly brought Nnamdi Kanu to Nigeria from Kenya, that is a different aspect entirely. That is under a civil purview, fundamental human rights and diplomatic issues. But now there are charges, criminal charges, bordering on terrorism and treasonable felony against Nnamdi Kanu. And the Supreme Court said, proceed with that trial. And that is why the trial started again. And now, when you are arraigned and you are confronted with the charges, you have either of two options: to plead guilty, which fast-tracks the whole process, or to claim that you are not guilty. So he pleaded not guilty. So he subscribed to prosecution. And to summarize, the prosecution came to their own conclusion after calling 5 witnesses that there is a case to answer here. And when you come to that point, there is also another option. Nnamdi Kanu's legal team now submitted a no case to answer address to the court, which the court did not allow. The court said, no, we cannot allow this because you have a case to answer. Now, you have 6 days from the 23rd of October to open your defense, you see. And that is why, if you notice, I think it was on the 20th that the protest came up and everything. But the judiciary is not subject to protest. You know what I mean? It's a different procedure entirely. So the protest may be perceived as being sensational. So right now, what the court is saying is that defend yourself. And as at that time, he had a team of legal experts, including the former Attorney General of the Federation, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Agabi. But shockingly, he came to court and sacked all his lawyers, and that he should be given his file, that he was ready to defend himself. And when he collected the file and studied it, he came back to court. In fact, before then, he requested that he was calling some witnesses, top profile, including Wike, Governor Sanwo-Olu, a former Attorney General, Malami, and all of them. And coming back to court again, he changed his mind and said there is no extant law on which to even try him, that what the prosecution has done are just wasted efforts, that the judge should release him on bail. And the judge advised him that, Mr. Man, it's not a civil matter. Consult legal experts. And there is no law that says you cannot defend yourself. But this is an intricate matter. And that is why the Honorable Justice has said, okay, we are giving you between 4th and 6th of November to come up. If you still claim that there is no case against you, submit your written address to the court, because we are wrapping up this case. But he must be seen to have been given what is called fair hearing, which the court is trying to do, because the senior silk, Aomolo, was disturbed that this honorable court gave Nnamdi Kanu 6 days. Why going for adjournment again? I think all these are just to at least ensure, and the honorable justice said it himself, that even if not to man, he's accountable to God. So where we are now is that there are several dramas, and even some stakeholders, some colleagues have wondered that, hey, what is going on?
Just without trying to cut your trail of thoughts, what is the way he's going about it? Are you worried? And this is just a client sacking his lawyers as the law allows him. Is he making a mistake?
We cannot claim that he's making a mistake. I think he knows what he's doing, and I will explain that. Even at a point, he said through his counsels that he was sick and that the ailment was life-threatening. He should be released to go to the hospital. But the court constituted a team of medical doctors through the Nigerian Medical Association that submitted a report to the court that he is fit to stand trial. So there had been several, and you recall that at a time, he even confronted Honorable Justice Betanyako in court that she had no ground to try him, and asked her to recuse herself, and the Honorable Justice recused herself. So there was a time he told his lawyer to keep quiet and things like that. I think what is going on can best be explained by me by taking it to marketing. When a product hits the market and succeeds with that entrance, it starts climbing and climbing until it gets to saturation, and that's when you need to bring in a promo. Otherwise, it goes into a plateau and begins to struggle. I think this team of Nnamdi Kanu's advocacy is off. If you have noticed, even the many people following him to court when it all started, those ones are gone now. And in the international environment, Simon Ekpa, who also was charged with similar allegations in Finland, has been convicted to 6 years imprisonment. And many are telling Nigeria that, come, do you have a justice system? So there are several issues involved. And now some are saying, let's have a political resolution. The question some of us are asking from the public relations angle is that the president, even though he's empowered by Section 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended to exercise executive power over the country, he does not control the judiciary, I mean administratively, though he has the prerogative through the Attorney General of the Federation to say we are withdrawing the charges against Nnamdi Kanu. It should be released. But now, if such is done, will one camp not say, should we rest protest, I'm twisted? You know, so it's a dicey situation. And from what I have realized, I think the government is just saying, let the law have its way. And that's why he's been told, defend yourself. And the opportunity is still open. So if he returns to court now, it's either he's coming to file a written submission that there is no case against him, he's not defending himself, which will now put him at the mercy of the prosecution's case, you see? And or to say he wants to buy time again, he now wants to hire new lawyers as the Honorable Justice advised him to. You know, so it's a dicey situation.
We're going to keep our eyes and our ears close to the case because it's one interesting case that has been dragged for many for a long time. But must thank you so much, Jide Ologun, legal practitioner, for your very intelligent insight into this subject matter. Thank you
welcome.
So much.
God bless Nigeria.
And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma. You observed on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.